Well, once you do an animated film called Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1, what do you do to follow up with that? Well, you do Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. Okay, 2. And so, of course, that is on the way. So they released a trailer, which I'll link in the description below. And, well, it's more of the same type of thing there. I did hear that Kevin Conroy lent his voice to it. I don't see anything. Maybe they're keeping that for a little special cameo. Because one of the elements of it, I thought, hey, they could revisit old art styles of previous DC cartoons, including like the Super Friends and stuff like that, you know, which would be more of an homage to the original series. There's elements of it that appear in the first film, but of course, like all adaptations, it can't be a direct thing. I suppose they could have done a full-blown miniseries, you know, but that would be expensive, I'm gathering. But anyway, there's some elements I'm fine with, and others I'm like, I don't know. But they did do something of a tribute of the crime syndicate and how they went out. Not as good as the comic book, but but nevertheless the same idea. And it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. And then this sort of sad story about the Flash, and they handled that very differently from the comic book, which again was much better, but but they came up with the means by which they would handle that and make it this sort of tragic end between him and Iris and all that. But one of the weird decisions, and I guess it fits in with limiting the amount of characters you have, even though, of course, in the background you might see Easter eggs of other characters and that sort of thing. But the amount of the main players within the story is that you get the Monitor, but you don't have Harbinger. There was this mysterious purple woman. Well, it turns out the mysterious purple woman is Supergirl. So they decided for that to be Supergirl. Whereas in the actual story, Harbinger became an important part and is ultimately corrupted and forced to turn on the Monitor and all that. But in the thing of it is that even though the Monitor was not her real father, she was had been a young girl who was the sole survivor of a shipwreck. The ship had sunk, and she was hanging on to a piece of it, I guess, in the ocean, you know, and she was doomed. And the Monitor, monitoring the entire universe, or multiverse, as it were, happened upon this and decided to take the time to save her and teleports her aboard his space station, you know. And then she ends up becoming his right-hand woman, you know, so he raises her and all this sort of stuff. So there's that relationship with it. As with Supergirl, you would have none of that, you know. This is, hey, you look like a good candidate to help me out on my Save the Multiverse project. I don't know, but then might delve into it within this story. So the synopsis for the upcoming package deal of Part 2, which will be available digitally on April 3rd, and then in physical media April 23rd. So there you go. But the synopsis is: an endless army of shadow demons bent on the destruction of all reality, which, you know, would consist of themselves too, I would think. Yeah, well, anyway, swarms all over our world and all parallel Earths. The only thing opposing them is the mightiest team of metahumans ever assembled. But not even the combined power of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and, you know, all the other superheroes can slow down the onslaught of this invincible horde. What mysterious force is driving them? Well, in the comic book, it was the Anti-Monitor. Maybe they'll change that to someone else in this, too. I don't know. And how do long-buried secrets of the Monitor and Supergirl threaten to crush our last defense? So when I read that, I said, oh, they're going to conjure up some story between them. Are they going to reveal the Monitor is Kara's father? You know, Jor-El's brother is still alive. Or did he recruit her earlier on or something along those lines? Don't know. But apparently there's going to be some sort of narrative there to play out to try to fit in with how it played out in the actual series itself. Spoiler, it probably doesn't end well for the Monitor. So, so of course, I'll be watching it when available, and we'll review it. But so, there's some elements in it that I thought were pretty good in the first one. And we'll take a look at that. Infinitely superior to the CW take on Crisis on Infinite Earth. Yeah, it was fun seeing Brandon Routh dressed up as Superman again, but that's kind of all there was to that one. But here, well, it's a way to close it out, and especially since Tomorrowverse didn't really get much time to progress into anything, because they're changing everything over, and all animated projects will supposedly, as the plan goes, will have to be a part of the DCU that James Gunn is putting together. So at least it gets a send-off, so there's something of that nature. But the really only curious thing, I suppose, is, do they do the cameos? And they may just present them, but it's all in the same art style, which would be a bit of a letdown. But then maybe that's just, look, hurry up, put this together, get it out there, because we got to get rolling on new animated features that are connected to their live action cinematic universe and television or streaming series like Green Lanterns will be and stuff like that. So anyway, we'll see how it plays out for that one, and we'll see how well it does. The Tomorrowverse films are hit and miss. A couple of them I thought were pretty good. The Justice Society one was pretty good, and the Supergirl movie, I like that one. The others, and so far with this one, 50-50 on the first part. It was certainly better than War World, which was the lead in to this, so I'll give it that. And but maybe part 2 will be really good. I don't know, but I'll check it out.